Good evening, everyone, and welcome back once again to Vicious Rants. And of course, I'm your host, your YouTube messiah, and often imitated, never duplicated, backyard superstar Tim Vicious, talking about Money in the Bank. And not even gonna lie, I was disappointed with Money in the Bank. Only 3 of my predictions came true. 3 of my predictions for the show wound up coming out, and they were the most obvious ones, and I felt like a freaking mark because those 3 came true, and which is saying something because I don't like the term mark. It feels almost N-word-ish to me, you know? Kind of like you're insulting someone. But yeah, it's... in hindsight, though, I can't really get too mad about the pay-per-view because I only paid $10 for it because I got the network, but either way, enough with that shit. Time to get on with the show. First off, first match of the night, tag match, Usos, Wyatt, Harper and Rowan. Usos came out. I'm pretty sure they wound up listening to Robot Hammer talking on Twitter, saying on how he has a hard time identifying him, so just calls him Uso 1 and Uso 2 because they had it on their belts, and I don't know, I kind of noticed those weird random little things. But when Harper and Rowan came out, instead of having that, you know, harmonica, that kind of thing playing like they did, you know, instead they had like a really dark, kind of sinister guitar playing for him, and I was just like, well, damn, that's new. I mean, too early to say on if I'm yay or nay for the song, for the music, you know, but either way, it was just something a little different that threw me off. And seeing Luke Harper, or the modern day Bruiser Brody as I like to think of him now, coming out in a nice new pair of jeans, definitely had me thinking they were gonna win. Now, the match itself, it was beautiful, it was crisp, I absolutely loved it. Which is saying something because I give the Usos a lot of crap, and I mean a lot of crap. Y'all know this, I give the Usos a lot of crap because they haven't done nothing to wow me. They wowed me. Guys, you got my attention now. So you better, and I mean better, start showing me why I should bother to look at you as a credible tag team now. Otherwise, I'm just going to be done. And I'm not even going to be like, oh, yeah, whatever. No, I mean like just straight up, you know, I'll be like, yeah, nah, you know what? This is bullshit. Kinda done. Now, as far as with the match, like I said, it was beautiful. I absolutely loved it. Harper and Rowan, they were phenomenal. Seeing Rowan go and do like a Von Raschke, doing like a Von Raschke and a Von Erich like claw on them, and then throwing them with it, I went nuts for, because, you know, I mean, like I've always said before, I grew up watching the classic wrestling on ESPN and seeing I seen that all the time with the Von Raschke, Von Raschke, and Von Erich, the Von Erichs using the claw. It was just really nice. I loved it, and you know, it was disappointed at the fact that the Usos won. I really, and I mean really, thought that they were gonna have the Wyatts win, you know, and it's on how the end came to be. Harper went to go, had one of the Usos, one of them, one or two, I don't know which one, up against the ropes. The other did a blind tag, countered. Next, you know, knocked him down, went up, did a Superfly Splash. The one that did the tag went up, another Superfly Splash. Okay, that's kind of a generic finish, you know, especially considering, you know, okay, you're a Samoan and you're going to use a Superfly Splash. Really? I mean, what's next? You're going to be a Canadian and use a sharpshooter? Ugh. Usos won. Very disappointed on that. But it was a phenomenal match nonetheless. I thoroughly enjoyed the match. And next up, it was the ST Divas match with Paige versus Naomi. And men, just think about this for a moment. Naomi, what does Naomi spell backwards? Oh yeah. Anyways, as far as this match went, I didn't feel like it was pay-per-view quality, but it was a good match nonetheless. It was pretty decent, but what a surprise. Paige won. Big surprise though was on how she won. She didn't wind up using Paige turn or the Scorpion crosslock. No, no, no. Naomi had her up and Paige just straight up countered, bam, right into a DDT, and then got the 1, 2, 3. So that was a little different, but it was nice to see. Now talk about what Raw the next night. Like I did with the last show. You know, I'm gonna try and start doing that for you guys now. If big things happen on the pay-per-view and then the night after on Raw, I'm gonna try and bring them up to yous, so that way I can be fully up to date with everything. Now, next night on Raw, Paige came out, was saying on how that was her up to date, her toughest opponent yet, and then who came out? Why, none other than Mrs. Phil Brooks. In which case, happy to see AJ back, because that means now we have not one but two, yes, two ladies in the wrestling division that actually wanted to be wrestlers, not just some fashion model or arm wrestler or dental hygienist or whatever, and then got asked, hey, do you want to get into wrestling? And, you know, but yeah, AJ came out and, now to my dismay, I'm now going to be sick to my stomach every time AJ comes out, because now she's going to wind up getting a plethora of CM Punk chants. She came out and it was literally the very same thing that happened the night after Mania when Paige won the title. The only difference is this match lasted about a good 40 to 50 seconds longer than the original, and AJ won with the roll-up instead of using one of her own signature moves. So, either way, AJ's now the new champion. So, yay, I guess. I mean, unless they're going to wind up doing this to build Paige up in a new way, because honestly, like I've said before, and I know a lot of you fuckknuckles out there that got pissed off about what I said, and you can disagree with what I said before about with Paige, but y'all want to get pissed over it and then come at me on it, then that's going to be a whole other story, and that's why you're a fuckknuckle. But you fuckknuckles that wind up getting pissed off over the fact of saying she's getting booked and treated like Cena, you know. The opponent dominates 99.9% of the match. Next thing you know, she hits 2 or 3 moves. Boom, she wins. You know, that's not the idea of an underdog. You know what the idea of an underdog is? Person who constantly has the odds stacked against them, no matter what. And despite all odds being against them, win. Doesn't necessarily mean they have to win by just using 5 moves of doom or just by doing one finisher. No, just straight up winning. You know, that's on what a real underdog is. Not on how Paige is being booked, not on how Cena's booked. But seriously, I am getting pissed off on how Paige is being booked and on how her character is. It's just way too boring. For crying out loud, Alberto Del Rio's character is more alive and vivid than Paige's. Yeah, that's right, I just went there. Don't like it? Tough shit. That's my view, that's my opinion on it. Moving on, next match. It was a surprise match. Adam Rose versus Damian Sandow. Wait, No, it wasn't Sandow. It was Paul Revere dressed as Damian Sandow, or the other way around. Either way, they came out, and much to my surprise, when they started this match, it was actually Sandow did really good and was actually being given offense in the match. I mean, he even did the Kobe Towaki yet. You know, for those that aren't able to speak Latin, the elbow of disdain. You're welcome. And you know, granted he lost. You know, Sandow lost, but the fact that he was being given, the fact that he had offense going on through the match and was putting up and dominated most of it. It just, you know, it shows that they're, instead of being moved right here in the funny gimmick, you know, like punishment, you know, starting to slowly move up. Especially with the night after on Raw when they were in Connecticut and he came out as Vincent Kennedy McSandow. And oh my God, that was by far one of the best Vince McMahon. You definitely know you are not. He is not he didn't piss in Vince's Cheerios like we all thought he did. If he's being allowed to come out, dress up like Vince, come out to his music, and even do Vince's "You're fired" like that. And which I'm pretty sure Vince gave Sandow's "You're Fired" a 10 out of 10, and I'm pretty sure he'd give mine a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10. I don't know. Go ahead, leave a comment down below on how you feel on my "You're Fired" compared to Sandow's, which compared to Vince's. Either way, you know, we're all doing each other one big circle jerk. I'm comparing them, you're comparing me, which is comparing them, and all so on and so forth. There's a method to the madness. Moving on, though. Next up, it was... that match, yeah. Like I said before, I get my info... I just keep a list of what the matches were on there, so... Next matchup, it was the Money in the Bank ladder match for the contract. Yeah, Rollins, Ambrose, RVD, Swagger, Ziggler, you know, Kofi. Now, Barrett was supposed to be in it, but he separated his shoulder, which they wound up bringing up on Monday night. Now this match, oh my God, this match was nuts. I was literally, I'm pretty sure my jaw dropped to the floor so hard it dug a hole into China so hard. And men, no, not that China. But either way, it was just, wow. I mean, high spots of the night on that. Rolling Thunder onto the ladder, you know. Frog Splash from the top of the ladder. Kofi doing a counter. Kofi doing a sunset flip onto Rollins onto the ladder and then bouncing off of that, hitting the side of the ladder and then falling down. And then, by far, the biggest spot of the night. Ambrose doing a superplex giving Rollins a superplex from the top of the ladder. Because you could see Ambrose going boom, and literally landed boom, 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 boom. Like that for like a good solid second. And good Lord. And then Ambrose, he was saying like his shoulder hurt. Thought his shoulder may have popped out again. You know, y'all ain't aware of his CZW days. Had some shoulder issues. Look it up, obviously, after you're done watching this, of course. But, yeah. Yeah, it's... I seriously thought he was for like a split second, right up until they took him to the back. You know? I don't know why right up until then nothing showed me saying that it was a work until then, but just something in my head saying, oh, it's a work now. But either way, after that, the match kept going on. It was really good, nice. It was very much so. The hell with what people saying Hell in a Cell is probably one of their more brutal matches. No. Motherfucker, Money in the Bank matches are more brutal because you got 6 to 8 guys all with ladders smashing them against each other. You know? That's more brutal than being put in a giant cage or doing an Extreme Rules, because with Extreme Rules you can at least, you know, you do normal in-ring maneuvers. With that, everyone's just going and slamming it with a ladder. But either way, Rollins, he was just about a heartbeat away from reaching it. And then Ambrose came running back out, started going at him. Kane came out, gave Rollins a hand, took care of Ambrose, held the ladder. Rollins went up, got the contract. Really can't be that surprised. I mean, he's got the Triple H seal of approval. I mean, and we really can't argue on that with him because he got that same seal of approval when he was in NXT and got crowned the first NXT champion. And also, Randy wound up getting the same seal with Evolution. So, you know, can we all really argue that much on it? Well, we can, but either way, moving on, next match. The Special Ed team of the WWE, Ryback versus the Dusters. That's now I like the Dusters or the Dust Brothers or something like that. You know, Cody and Stardust, in which case, yes, I fucking love the whole Stardust gimmick. It is fucking crazy because it's brought a whole new dimension to Cody. And aside from that, if somebody from TNA ever winds up watching this, I really hope they pay attention because, you know, tell Jeff Hardy to take notes off of Cody on how a secondary persona should be because your Willow character is fucking bland and boring just as much as you are, Jeff. And Masked Mark even said it. The only difference between Jeff Hardy and Willow is Willow does and Hardy does Hardy. Whereas Cody Rhodes was just straight up in there, and Stardust now, oh my god, he moves around, you know. If you didn't know he was married to Eden, you may think he was starting to question if he was a little, yeah. But either way, the match, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Again, not pay-per-view quality, what you would expect, but it was pretty alright. I'd have pegged that as like a Monday Night Worth match. Not even a time filler match, but worth being on Raw. You know, the Dust Brothers wound up getting the win at the end, and yep, next up it was Rusev versus Big E, in which case my favorite part of WWE now, Lana! And, oh yeah. Men also, I can't say this part because some kid, no, I can't say that joke because some kids tend to watch this, and yeah, parental groups out there. Yeah, I got like a giant swarm of parental groups outside where I film this right now, all protesting, saying Tim dislikes kids, which is not true because, you know, I have a kid my own. But either way, that match, Rusev versus Big E, it was really good. I was really impressed on how Big E worked in the ring because, you know, I'm normally not all that happy when you have two big guys like that in there. Like, you know, it's having two big giant guys like that. It's not really something because You're not going to see a lot of, you know, movement. But with them, Big E, he moved good. He moves around like a guy that's a good 20, maybe 40 pounds lighter than he is. Rusev, he moves around like a guy his size, but he's very quick, which is what impresses me. Just wish Rusev would wear some shoes, but it was a good match, you know, very good story behind it with the whole patriotism thing, you know, and yeah, Rusev wound up getting the win. He put the accolade on. He put the accolade on Big E. Saw Big E was starting to counter it, but couldn't, and then eventually tapped, which is now showing that, you know, which now shows that the unbeatable monster now does have a chink in his armor, so to say. You know, it's he can get beaten at some point, and he's gonna. Which leads into Raw when they were out there doing an anti-US promo, and then, of all people, the one person I've been waiting for, Uncle Zebekiah and Jack Swagger, come on out and wind up going into them. Talking about, you're allowed to go and trash talk this country all you want, Missy, because you have the right to, because of the First Amendment, the freedom of speech. You could say what you want just as much as I'm allowed to say what I want. Doesn't mean we have to agree on it, though. And now they're definitely going face turn. Swagger and Uncle Zebekiah, they're now baby faces, and I've been waiting for this to go on, for this to go down with Rusev and Swagger. You know, and like I've said before, I'm a big fan of Swagger. He's got all the skills and the tools to make it to the top. He's just missing that one thing. He's missing the charisma that he needs for it. And hopefully this helps push him with that charisma. But either way, you know, all hopes on that. Next matchup, it was the second ST Divas match of the night. Summer Rae versus Layla. With Ref Dango as the referee. Yeah. Okay, I will give this. There was some actual wrestling moments in there, but all in all, I just looked and I was like, seriously? I mean, for crying out loud, I was a backyard wrestler and I could have probably done a better match. You know? That's on how I felt. Either way, Layla got the win in the end. Biggest surprise on that part, though, came to be with that Dingleberry wound up actually calling the match down the middle. He didn't side with Layla or Summer. He just called it straight on down the middle, which was good. Don't really see that much. Next up, main event match of the night. For the Money in the Bank match for the title, Roman Reigns, Cesaro, Bray Wyatt, Kane, excuse me, Randy, and of course, Cuck Fina. I mean, John Cena. Gonna get that taken care of eventually. Oh, and Del Rio also. Shows how much necessity Del Rio was for that match. You know, can barely remember he was in it. But either way, the match itself, again, really good match. It was on par with everything, what I expected it to be. You know, and I absolutely loved it. It was great. You know. Nice little twist on it, though, was Hunter and Steph were sitting ringside the whole time, looking and watching, you know, added an extra little dimension to the match, you know, like, okay, could they possibly interfere? Are they just going to watch? What? You know, but either way, it was a good match, and Reigns and Cesaro, like I said, they were my dark horses for who I thought could have won. But, man, oh man, did they both make their marks in that match. You know, they didn't even have to win the match by the time the end came, because, you know, spoiler, Cena won. Who didn't see that coming? But man, it was just, they both wound up showing, hey, they can hang with the big guys, you know, and yeah, it was good. I absolutely enjoyed the match. Especially, I don't know if anyone noticed, once Bray started doing his spider walk, the facial expression Paul Heyman had at ringside, it was almost up there with the same look he had when Brock got the 3 count at WrestleMania. In which case, again, Paul Heyman may say his client conquered The Undertaker's undefeated streak, but whereas for me, I can say, my client will be the new Raw General Manager! Yes, I had to get that in there, because again, I am an advocate, and folks, life sure is great when you're a Tim Vicious guy. Just keep that in mind. And yeah, what a surprise, Cena won. Not really all that surprised, so, you know, everyone's now all hoping for Brock to come and just snap Cena like a frickin' twig or a Slim Jim at SummerSlam, hold the title until Bryan comes back so that way he could take it off him. And, you know, that, I think, could work phenomenal. Because, and even yet, if they say Bryan's not able to come back until the Rumble, think about it. If Brock wins at SummerSlam, he can hold that title from that time until WrestleMania. And then Bryan comes back, surprise entry at the Royal Rumble, beats Brock at WrestleMania, which is the Super Bowl of the sport, to win the title again. To win back the title that he got stripped from. That could work great. You know? Alright, so anyways, that's all the time for this week's show. So, like all normal, don't y'all forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch all the other episodes. Look for me on Twitter at Tim Vicious. Make sure y'all also check out my backup account, Tim_Vicious. Also, make sure y'all also check out all these cool ass cats right here on Twitter. James Belmont, JX2001, that Roxy girl, Vicky Earls. Vicky's got her own YouTube channel. Make sure y'all check that out. I am Danny Sunday, Mucky Morris, Helen Robinson, 82. Axel Mulligan, make sure you also check out Axel's show, Axel's Analysis. It's basically, think of it like this, but one, it's better, and two, it's on NXT. He does it on NXT. Sunday segue. Kenny can't wait to get back on again. July 20th, Beat the Clock Challenge. I'm coming for you, Wally. You may be the young brain, but you got to deal with the alpha brain right here. Sinfully Sabrina, Cranky Grandpa, Legion Lady Aaron, Oliver Ben, Just a Stupid Mark. Make sure you also check out Oliver Ben's and Mask Mark's TNA Turnaround. Alright, and like I always tell y'all, you love me great, you hate me. Fuck yous.